They underestimate you. Because you're not loud. Because you don't perform your confidence like a show. Because you feel more than you speak. And they think silence means smallness. But here's what they'll never see. The fire doesn't need to scream to burn. Some of the fiercest storms begin with still skies, and you are the quiet before the quake. You've walked through chaos without shouting. You've carried weight no one noticed. You've broken and rebuilt yourself in complete silence. And not once did you ask for applause. But let's be honest, you felt invisible. Like the world only values noise. Like only the loud ones get noticed. And the gentle ones like you get passed by. You've swallowed your brilliance to keep others comfortable. Dimmed your light because someone said it was too much in the wrong tone. You've played small so many times you started thinking it was your size. But what if I told you, your quiet is not a weakness, it's a warning. It's what the world feels right before it changes. You weren't made to be harmless. You weren't born to be agreeable. You were built for moments that require still power. Grounded presence, unshakable truth, not the kind that roars, the kind that echoes. You've held your tongue because you didn't want to offend. You've kept peace by making war with your own needs, and now you're tired. Not just physically, but soul-deep tired, because bending for the world's comfort is exhausting, and being invisible when you know you were born to impact hurts in a way you don't even have words for. But here's your reminder. You don't have to keep shrinking. You don't have to keep saying, "I'm fine," when your spirit is begging for space to breathe. You don't have to carry everyone's weight at the expense of your own spine. You don't have to earn your worth by breaking yourself in the name of kindness. Because being kind doesn't mean being silent. Being patient doesn't mean being passive. And being soft doesn't mean you don't shake mountains. You were never weak for caring. You were never foolish for hoping. You were never fragile for loving too deeply. You were simply powerful in a way the loud ones couldn't understand. And now, it's time. Not to become someone new, but to return to who you've always been underneath the noise. Not to grow louder, but to become undeniable. The world may never see you coming, but once you rise, they'll never forget you. Maybe no one ever told you this. You don't need to earn your place in the world. You already belong. You already matter, right now. Not once you achieve, not once you improve, but now. Because your worth isn't built on results. It's not a scoreboard. It's not your GPA. It's not how many people clap for you when you walk into the room. It's in the way you show up, even when no one's watching. It's in the effort you give when you could have given up. It's in the kindness you offer when it costs you something. You've been measuring yourself against standards that were never meant for your soul. You've worn expectations like armor just to survive the battlefield of life. But maybe it's time to drop the armor. Maybe it's time to let your real self breathe. Because real strength isn't in how much you can carry. It's in knowing when to set things down. You don't have to keep performing. You don't have to keep pretending you're okay when your bones are tired and your mind is full of noise. You've spent so long being strong for others that you forgot how to ask for support. You've gotten so good at hiding your hurt that even you can't always see it anymore. But that doesn't make it go away. It just buries it deeper until it starts whispering through your thoughts, through your choices, through your silence. You deserve space to feel, to grieve, to rest, to breathe. You are not a machine. You are not a product. You are a living, breathing being with softness, fire, and contradiction inside you. And that is not something to fix. That is something to honor. You are allowed to need help. You are allowed to not have it all together. You are allowed to heal out loud. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission to be whole. It won't. You have to give it to yourself. Because your real power, it's not in how perfect you look. It's in how honest you are about what's real. And when you're real, you give other people permission to be real too. And that changes things. You've been quiet long enough. Not because you didn't have something to say, but because every time you tried, someone talked over you, dismissed you, made you second-guess your own truth. So eventually, you stopped speaking. Not because you agreed, but because it hurt to fight to be heard. And now you carry words inside your chest like glass, sharp, unspoken, and heavy. But I want you to know this. The world needs your voice. Your unfiltered, unpolished, untamed voice. The one that trembles but still speaks anyway. You've never had to be perfect to be powerful. You just had to be real. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting for a voice like yours. Not louder, not fancier, not scripted, just honest. And when you speak from that place, the place where your voice shakes, where your eyes sting, where your truth leaks out messy and raw, that's where the change happens. That's when masks start to fall. That's when walls begin to crack. That's when healing begins to echo. But I get it. Being seen is scary. You've been taught to armor up, to shrink, to filter, to silence. But silence never protected you. It only protected the comfort of others. And you weren't born to keep people comfortable. You were born to wake them up. That doesn't mean yelling. It doesn't mean forcing. It means standing fully in who you are, even if your voice is the only one shaking in the room. Because courage isn't loud. Courage is honest. And you've carried enough silence for a lifetime. It's time to lay it down, not in anger, not in vengeance, but in truth. This is the season where you return to your voice, where you stop whispering because you think no one's listening, and start roaring because you finally hear yourself. Because your voice, it's not just sound, it's legacy. You've always been waiting for the moment, that perfect moment to act, to speak, to begin. But here's what life teaches you over and over again. The perfect moment doesn't exist. There's no grand sign, no green light that tells you now you're ready. Because readiness isn't a feeling, it's a choice. It's the decision to rise while you're still afraid, to speak while your voice still shakes, to take the step before you can see the whole staircase. You've spent years preparing, but maybe all this time wasn't about learning how to be ready. Maybe it was learning how to trust yourself, even when you're not. And that's the real strength. Not in being fearless, but in showing up with your fear and doing it anyway. So ask yourself honestly, how much of your life have you spent waiting for permission to live it? How many dreams have you delayed until things settled down or felt right or made sense? But life doesn't get quieter. It doesn't slow down to let you catch up, and it won't always make sense. That's the point. You have to build the life you want in the middle of the noise, in the chaos, in the mess. That's where your power lives, not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of fire. So stop waiting. Stop holding back. Stop bargaining with your potential as if you have infinite time. You don't. And that's not a threat. That's a gift to wake up, to start now, to begin again, even here, even tired, even unsure, because you've always had what it takes. You just needed to stop looking outward for proof. So now what? You've peeled back the noise. You've faced the silence. You've stared down your fear and refused to look away. So now, you build. Not from perfection, but from truth. Not from who you were supposed to be, but from who you actually are. You build from the cracks, not despite them, but because of them. You use the scars as mortar, the lessons as bricks, the pain as the foundation no storm can shake, because now you know something deeper. You've survived too much to live half awake. No more shrinking, no more waiting, no more apologizing for needing space or taking up space, or becoming someone you no longer recognize, but finally remember. Because this version of you, the one rising from the wreckage, they are not weak. They are not broken. They are reborn. This is the season of becoming. Not starting over, but starting true. No more fitting in. Now you take your place. Now you speak your name out loud and claim it without flinching. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not a mess to be cleaned up. You are a soul that finally refused to stay buried. And as you rise, others will notice. They might not understand. They might feel threatened. But that's not your burden. You were not made to live for their comfort. You were made to move something, to shift something, to spark something just by being fully yourself. So go. Go become the story that couldn't be silenced. Go create what only your pain could teach. Go become the person you needed most. Not tomorrow, not once you're better. Now. Because the world doesn't need more copies. It needs your fire. And the quiet inside you, it was never empty. It was always waiting.